welcome. My name is Reverend Dr. Michael McMorrow. I'm the Senior Minister, Spiritual Director here at the Center for Spiritual Living in Granada Hills, California. We're located in the North San Fernando Valley, and we are a faith community that welcomes all who practice their beliefs in faith and love. And so if you're out of the area and this is your first time joining us, welcome. We're delighted to have you with us. This evening we have as our presider one of our newer practitioners, but deep in wisdom and consciousness, Vinu Alag. So I'm delighted to have her with us today, delighted to have those who are in the room, those who are on their way, and those of you who are joining us at home. So let's, as we bring down the lights, let's take a deep conscious breath and just feel that release. As we just release the day, the cares, concerns, the busyness, just let it go. Let's take one more breath. And this time, let the shoulders drop. And one more. Just surrendering to this moment as we come together for our call to service, which we call lighting the flames of faith. And we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples, all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call spirit. Now, fundamental to this truth is a unifying nature of all religions, of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here this evening. So as Vinu lights the first candle, it's for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the second candle for shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light the third candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the fourth candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. The fifth candle we light for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light the sixth candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the seventh candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light the eighth candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. The ninth candle we light for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. The 10th candle we light for all those who are as yet unaware of the power and presence of spirit in their lives, and for the space we hold for them here at our center, within our online community, and of course within our own hearts. And tonight, as Vinu lights a healing candle, let's remember those who are suffering, particularly in places of war and strife in Ukraine, in Israel, in Gaza, and to place silently into the light the names of anyone else You wish to have experienced the healing flame of God's eternal love.
I'm thankful, so grateful. I'm one with the Spirit all around me. I'm thankful, so grateful. I trust in God. I surrender. I surrender. I'm one with the Spirit all around me. I surrender. I surrender. I trust in God.
I invite you to join me as we go within, settling into our body, into our breath, recognizing there is only one mind, one consciousness, one universal all that is everywhere and in everyone. Knowing that each one of us here tonight is in union with this divinity, with this all that is. One with peace, one with harmony, one with connection, one with love. There is no place that God is not. I recognize right here, right now, that we are each here by divine appointment. As the night unfolds in this beautiful co-creation, we are gathered, whether online or in person, to go within our hearts, to hear that still small voice within, to connect to the all that is, without and within. I'm so grateful to know these truths, so grateful to have this gift of time together here in the sanctuary. Grateful for our AV team, for Reverend Mike, for each person here in person and online. It is with this full and grateful heart, I release my word to the law, knowing it is done, knowing it is all love. And together we affirm this by saying, and so it is. Welcome everyone to our Wednesday night meditation. I'm Vino Ala, one of the new practitioners here. When I first started doing this a couple of months ago, I struggled with, what am I going to talk about? I have no idea what to talk about. Now, just a couple of months later, I have the opposite problem. There's so much to talk about. How do I narrow it down? So I went into my heart the last few days and I decided to let it speak to me. There's a lot going on in the world right now. This topic of paradox, I talked about a couple of weeks ago, the paradox of being human, holding space for all that is, for creation, for peace, for love, but also for separation, for destruction, for pain. This is how great our capacity at being human is, that we actually can hold space for all of that if we choose to. But it's not always easy. It's up to us every single day when we wake up to decide, what do I want to hold in my heart? What do I want to stand for? What brings me peace? What brings me joy? And how can I share that with the world? There have been moments where I have felt helpless, heartbroken, discouraged. And I thought, there's nothing I can do. How can I change the world from where I stand? But I'm reminded that I do have a circle of influence. And I do get to walk into that circle and shine my light. I can see where there is no peace around me and bring peace. I can see where there's miscommunication and bring clarity. I can see where I'm participating in the actions that cause separation or chaos or a lack of clarity and choose to show up differently. So these micro actions, maybe not so micro in the bigger scheme of it all. I may seem to feel a little small, but if every single one of us was living more intentionally, we'd recognize we are actually larger than life. We are grand souls walking this earth, and we get to choose how we live each day, how we interact with each person we meet. And even if we don't remember 100% of the time, what if we just remembered a little bit more? Today, tomorrow, the next day. And when we forget, that's okay. We come back to ourselves again and again. I studied Rumi for many years and was reminded of this really beautiful thing. He said, "Love is not for the meek. Love is the work of heroes and warriors." Love is the work of heroes and warriors. It takes courage, it takes strength to show up as an agent of love every single day. It's not just hearts and rainbows and Cupid. It's this deep, unconditional love we have for each other, for humanity, for ourselves. Love is the greatest gift we can offer to the world. All we have to do is own it, recognize it, reflect it, share it. To know it is up to me to stand for truth. It is up to me to stand for union and unity. It is up to me to stand for connection, for creation, for beauty, for love. So let's move into our week as the great love warriors we are. Thank you. Before I hand the light over to Reverend Mike, we have a few announcements. Practitioners are available today in the treatment room for a 2-minute tune-up. There are a couple of us here tonight. Tomorrow, October 26th at 7 p.m., we have our ancestral remembrance. Please join Dr. Reverend Mike and Reverend Dina Efferson-Williams for the World Healing Full Moon Meditation Ceremony. Bring a memento of a loved one, come write their name in the Book of Remembrance. Youth Church is meeting on Sunday, October 29th at 10:30 a.m. for a Halloween party. Come dressed up in costume. Contact Reverend Nicole for info. Last but not least, our Fall Gratitude Festival, Saturday, November 4th at 5 p.m. Tickets for sale, $55 in advance, $65 at the door. This is dinner, dancing, really fun time. So come if you can. Email Kathy Theodore for info. Thank you.
Thank you, Vinu. So tomorrow night, for those of you who are local, so we're going to have this program. The working title is, I think, Inviting the Divine Feminine or something like that. The Goddess Within. So, of course, they would ask me to speak to that. Why wouldn't they? So, I think it's going to be a fun night. So, Dina has, and it's going to be a journey. And so, Dina's got a program. There's going to be a little bit of, there's going to be music in it for sure, and a little bit of movement. And then I'm going to speak to the Celtic musings of the divine feminine and how it has actually influenced Dia de los Muertos. And then more music, and then we will have the remembrance, ancestral remembrance from that. So for those of you who are in the area and want to check it out, if you want to bring a little photograph of a loved one who's passed on, which is not necessarily just human, by the way, and you just, so it's a time to not only maybe release some grief, because, you know, we lost a lot of, I mean, we're acting like the world is like back to normal. And, you know, there was a lot of loss around COVID that we're still kind of working our way through. So if that happens to be you, maybe you can find through this, find some healing through the ritual tomorrow night. And what's the old saying, you know, grief shared is halved or something, yeah. And joy shared is multiplied. So that's one of the great things about spiritual community. And Rumi is, now, I meant to look this up during the week and got busy and forgot. So Hafez was the student of Rumi, or the other way around? Oh, you can't remember either. All right, well, anyway, they're connected. So my introduction to Rumi was through Hafez when I started taking, back when I was doing yoga. And so the yoga teacher would read. And then that got me into Rumi. And Rumi got me from this one, there's a couple of famous phrases, but the one that's stuck with me is learning to listen with the ear of the heart. And this is the thing that great poets do, is they take seemingly ordinary experience and tweak it just a little bit so that we can have a deeper insight to life. Rumi was from what we know today as Iraq, Iran, that, you know, that swath, I think Persia actually. And it's not lost on me that, you know, we have all this great poetry from the ancients from that part of the area. So, of course, the Psalms in the Hebrew Bible, that's all poetry. And when the prophets speak of God the Almighty, where we might use the word spirit, it is often in this beautiful prose. In the Song of Songs, where David or Solomon speaks to the love of the divine in the language of the bridegroom with the bride, right? And Rumi was known for this as well. So when he says he's, you know, it takes courage to be loved. Now you got to remember, he was a 15th century guy. So he was probably the only one out there talking like this, him and Hafez. So I wanted to, can I share two poems? All right. So maybe I'll share this one tomorrow night. It's entitled The Woman I Love. Because the woman I love lives inside of you, I lean as close to your body with my words as I can, and I think of you all the time, dear pilgrim. Because the one I love goes with you wherever you go, Hafez will always be near. If you sat before me, wayfarer, with your aura bright from your many charms, My lips could resist rushing to you, but my eyes can no longer hide the wondrous fact of who you really are. The beautiful one whom I adore has pitched his royal tent inside of you, so I will always lean my heart as close to your soul as I can. That's pretty juicy for spiritual poetry, right? The beautiful one whom I adore has pitched his royal tent inside of you, so I will always lean my heart as close to you, as close to your soul as I can. And here's the second poem for the evening, which I think ties into what Vinu was speaking to tonight when we're all experiencing on some level, if we're paying attention at all, we're experiencing some level of trauma, watching world events unfold, and just the heartbreaking suffering that we're made aware of. The title of this poem is entitled, "Power is Safest in a Poet's Hand." Power is safest in a poet's hands. Power is safest in a poet's hands. Thus, for the artist, God will pose. The realms of thought sublimely wild, the finest pigments of ground suns, the violin's divine plea for a true friend. What is all this world has seen from art? The shadow more true and glorious there than in the cage where there is often talk of right and wrong. The reins of God say to his lover, "Hold me in your mouth, dear, as you toil with your limbs and strength to free the magnificence in man." The reins of the sky sing, "Grab hold, and you will know God lowers his cup into you to drink." The realms of thought sublimely wild, the finest pigments of ground suns, the violin's divine plea for a true friend. What is all this world has seen from art? The shadow more true and glorious there than in the cage where there is often talk of right and wrong. So there's some deep thoughts to meditate on. The cage of right and wrong. I hope that microphone didn't pick that up. It did? Oh man, that's embarrassing. So, what do you say we meditate? All right, so let's just take a deep breath and release. And just check our posture, getting our wiggles and jiggles and the itches, just getting comfortable. And just following the breath. So we're sitting comfortably but erect. And erect with free of tension. So the idea that we sit erect as a way that the body can sit more comfortably. Again, free of tension. So we just focus our breath on the movement, we focus our attention on the movement of the breath in the nostril. Begins to still. The tummy rises naturally. In and out. We're forcing nothing. Maybe scan the body, starting from the feet to the ankles, up the legs, to the knees, unwinding any tension in there, any twisting. On up into the thighs, the hamstrings, into the sit bones. Now bring our attention to the sit bones. The spine is erect, free of tension, balanced over the sit bones. Head balanced over the spine, chin slightly down, and breathe. Gently rising and falling, naturally following the breath. So let's take a deep breath together, and we're going to, on the exhale, allow the shoulders to drop. So deep breath together. Release the shoulders. Return to the breath. Deep breath. Exhale. Bringing our attention to the exhale. Allowing us to experience a release on each exhale as we move into the silence now for about 15 minutes. gently back into the room, staying with the breath. There is no where God is not. We are breathing in all that God is. It's flame grows in radiance to this ball of light and love, radiates rather than consumes. So with each in-breath, we continue to fan this ball of light now. With each inhale, we feel the expansiveness, expansion of this ball of light and its release, the ebb and flow, the natural way of life, the ebb and flow, the tide moving in and out of the same way that we would inflate a balloon. Inhaling and feeling that heart expand with each inhale as this field of light and love now expands beyond the body, torso, side to side, front to back, top to bottom, that we're now sitting in this field of light and love, the indwelling light mixing, commingling with the breath of light and love, extending even further now. Extending, commingling with our friends here in the sanctuary, commingling with our friends joining us online as well, that we know that spirit is bound not by this three-dimensional world. So in this energetic dimension, and we recognize and feel the unity, the union with each other. The heart is open. That with each in-breath now we are knowing that at the deepest level of our being, that we are aligning with and attuning with the divine Om of Spirit. That at the energetic level there is an alignment, an attuning going on even now. That every atom, every molecule, every cell, every organ, every muscle, every bone, every sinew, all the various components, various systems, lymphatic, circulatory, nervous system, all of it is expressing now as a pattern of perfection, a natural state of being, the deepest aspects of the spirit expressing itself in the perfection of the body temple. And as we know this truth for ourselves, we are knowing it for friends with whom this may not be their truth right now, that we are knowing it for them. So for Alex and Lori, we're for Jeannie, for Wendy, for our friends suffering physically in any way. And we take a deep breath and release as we are knowing that the oneness and the infinite power of the Most High is aligning and expressing itself in, through, and as all of us now. So staying with the breath, allowing our minds to open now, that we are open and receptive to a divine download from the creative impulse of life itself, as we know and understand that the Spirit is intelligence, if nothing else. And so we know we are capturing even now new and dynamic ideas, the solution to any seeming problem or challenge that we may be facing, that it is anchored now deeply within our minds for instant recall, for later recall, possibly recall in the dream state, that we know with confidence that this download is happening even now. We are open and receptive to the divine download. That we are open and receptive to releasing any sense of confusion or struggle within our own mental state, for the mental state of those with whom we love, and for all beings, that we are knowing for ourselves and for others, clarity, harmony, peace, serenity of thought. We take a deep breath, releasing that. So finally, with this open heart that we have been cracked open by means of this meditation, this healing meditation here this evening, so that for within our relationships, the relationship first within ourselves, that we allow ourselves to feel a sense of compassion and loving kindness towards ourselves. A sense of to forgive ourselves in things that perhaps we could have done differently or better today. And that in that forgiveness, that an implicit commitment to doing better as we know better. That we know for all of our relationships that that we see clearly the one heart, the one mind of the Spirit expressing through them as well. That we know for all those who are in conflict in any way, within any kind of conflict, wherever that may be, that we are knowing that there is that within all, that power, presence, infinite heart of the Spirit that is longing and intuitively seeking ways of connection and of understanding, that seek first to understand rather than to be understood. And so we take a deep breath and release that. So together then we know that there is but one power, one presence, one source, one life of the divine, both impressing and expressing itself in, through, and as all of life, in, through, and as our life, in, through, and as the life of all. And so as we move through the rest of this meditation, healing meditation, and this mental treatment, we are releasing all our cares, concerns, aspirations, inspirations, any insights that we have received this evening, any sense of healing or a call for healing, that we are taking a deep breath now And releasing and releasing. No, we are releasing all of it to that aspect of the mind, of the divine itself, from which all things are made whole, from which all things emanate, from which all things demonstrate. That place within the mind of the divine that knows only to say to our deepest needs, yes, my beloved, yes, in you I am well pleased. So we take one more deep breath, feeling just a deep sense of gratitude for the many blessings in our life. From this place of conscious gratitude and confidence now, we just release this word to this spirit, knowing that it is done, knowing it is so. So we know further this evening that as we leave here tonight, that we arrive home safely and in good order, and that as we all make our way through the rest of this evening, we arrive to our beds. As our heads hit the pillow, we drift off easily and effortlessly to sleep, sleeping deeply, soundly, dreaming sweet dreams, that we awaken feeling restored, revitalized, with a sense of vim and vigor and a zest for life. So one more breath then. Knowing all of it to be so now, we just release it all now, knowing it is done, knowing it is so. And together we acknowledge this by saying, and so it is, amen. Well, thank you for joining us tonight here in the room. And those of you joining us in your room, at home, wherever you're joining us or wherever you're joining us from. It's been nice having you here. So again, tomorrow night, if you're local, 7 p.m. And if you're on our Constant Contact, you can actually join through the Spiritual Unity Movement, SUM. They have a Zoom component also. But so you can look for that in our Constant Contact. So maybe I'll see you tomorrow night. Of course, on Sundays, we are live here at 9 a.m. and then we live stream at 10:30. So if you are new, just hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, and you'll get a little note letting you know when we are up, which will at the 9 o'clock be with Reverend Nicole Robbins, and the 10:30 will be with Reverend Dr. Maureen Hoyt, as I am going on retreat with a bunch of men. We're going to pray the way men pray. Yeah, so we'll see how that goes for us and for you, all right? So until then, know that you're loved, peace and blessings, and I'll see you next time.